LSV. It contains strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Finally, show with the balls to call it like it is. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Countdown to audio torture.
The Rated R Safety Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Let the eardrum pain begin.
Forget the corporate bullshit. This is the Rated R Safety Show with your host, Dr. It doesn't matter who the host is.
Oh, yes. Even on a free-form Friday, it does not matter who the host is. Anyways, today is Friday, September the 15th of 2023, day 257th of the year, and only 108 days left to go. We are broadcasting live from the Safety FM studios in Orlando, Florida, and coming across the multiverse known as Safety FM, and we are hanging out with our friends and colleagues at that other place that we do stuff at. So let's talk about that.
Radio Big. USA, Canada, UK.
Oh, yes, hanging out with the friends at Radio Big, because that is what we do. That is how we go. That is how we, that's how we do the thing. That is for sure. So don't worry about that. We got it all moving and grooving for you because, hey, that's what we do here. So let's start going through the stuff because there's a ton of stuff to talk about. No doubt about that. So I guess before I start talking about all the stuff that we get to do, let's talk about that it's Freeform Friday. So we're going to talk a little bit about everything because, you know, who wouldn't want that? Also, what else? What else besides the Freeform Friday thing? Let's see. If you want to interact with the show, callinradio.com. We'll get you moving and grooving. That's important. That's important to talk about. What else? Call in radio. I'm trying to think. Oh yeah, we're just going to do whatever today. We talk mostly about safety in the news, except on Fridays. We just talk about everything on Fridays and all the stuff that we didn't catch up on. I mean, I don't even know if I should go as far as talking about people telling me on how they want to do bodily functions on me because they were so excited about things going on inside of the world of the multiverse. I don't know. I mean, it was a weird week with some of the main stories, and it was a weird week with how people were pissed off or pissed on, depending on how you take a look at it. In regards of what is going on. I'm being told that video server functionality for some is not the grandioso, just so you know. I never know what the hell's going on with some of these things. I really don't. I would love to tell you, hey, everything is perfect, everything is grand, everything is okay, but hey, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Listen, we are a radio station first, everything else secondary, podcast network, live stream, and all that fun stuff. So just so you know exactly that. Anyways, with that being said, let's start talking about what was trending.
Here is what was trending. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so if I take a look at the trends of the ends, Toko the dog is back and looking for friends in stranded ship sets to sail again. More in the hit list as we all get into that. Bijou Phillips is standing by her man, and Lauren Boebert's mystery man has been identified. We'll talk about that. Bill Maher is heading back to work, and we'll talk about how that's going to work. He says it's time for writers to do the same. We'll talk about that inside of casting calls. Also, the Kardashian crew's to blame for the Aaron Rodgers season-ending injury. I don't know how, but we'll talk about that. And the royal family loses a historic hunting land. So a lot of stuff-o, for sure. So are you excited that it's Friday? I'm just asking because I always tell people, if you're overly excited for the day of the week, there might be some problems. But hey, that's my issue. Really not a you issue. It's a me issue, is the way that it goes. So what do you want to do today? What do you want to talk about? Okay, now, so call in radio. If you do it on the social media platforms, it delays my brain. Not that my brain isn't quick. There's just a delay before I get there. Most of the time, that delay occurring until after the show. So I don't want to piss anybody off. No, seriously, it's not my intent to piss people off in regards to what I'm doing. Seriously, I know it's hard to believe, but it is never el intentado de me hacerte upset. No, seriously. So with that being said, I do have some people that are hanging out waiting to talk. I have some newscasters that are hanging out right over there that are sitting at a desk and wanting to tell you what's going on. So why don't we do the news right now? I'll have Michael Kastner tell you all about it.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
NBC News Radio, I'm Michael Kastner. The United Auto Workers Union is now on strike against all three Detroit automakers for the first time ever. UAW President Shawn Fain says they are striking at one plant from each of the big automakers today and are prepared to expand the strike if they don't reach a new contract agreement.
We are committed to winning an agreement with the big three that reflects the incredible sacrifice and contributions UAW members have made to these companies.
The union is seeking a 46% raise, a 32-hour week instead of 40, and an end to tiered wages. Tropical storm warnings are being issued in several states as Hurricane Lee barrels toward New England. WFXT in Boston says the hurricane is on track to bring wind damage and flooding to the state this weekend. The National Weather Service says Lee will pass offshore of New England on Saturday, but its impact will be felt far from the storm center. Hunter Biden is being indicted on felony gun charges. A court filing shows the president's son has been charged with 3 federal criminal counts. 2 counts related to Biden allegedly filing a form claiming he was not using drugs at the time he purchased a weapon in 2018. The third alleges he was in possession of a gun while using drugs. Maryland Democratic Congressman Jamie Raskin, who has also taught constitutional law.
I don't think people should applaud the system when it works for Hunter Biden, but then try to tear the system down when it works for Donald Trump. I mean, both of them have been indicted on various charges. The presumption of innocence operates for both of them. Due process rights operate for both of them.
Vice President Kamala Harris kicked off a 7-state tour of college campuses Thursday. Harris began courting young voters yesterday with a stop at Hampton University in Virginia. Harris's college tour will also take her to North Carolina A&T, Morehouse College, the University of Wisconsin-Madison, College of Southern Nevada, and Northern Arizona University. Michael Kastner, NBC News Radio.
Safety in a way never heard of before. The Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
New York City Mayor Eric Adams continues to call on the federal government to do much more to help the city with the migrant crisis. Trey Thomas reports.
Adams says the migrant issue is costing the city billions.
We got a $5 billion deficit that we have to take out of the household of New York City. It's unacceptable.
Meantime, White House staffers are arriving in the city this week to try and guide migrants through the process of applying for federal work authorization.
Today is day 3 of the Google antitrust trial in Washington, D.C. Colorado Attorney General Phil Weiser, part of a coalition of 39 states involved in the suit, says Google has created an unfair monopoly.
Essentially, every smartphone that people get has Google as the default search, and it's baked into everything. And that means we don't have a competitive advertising market.
The Justice Department accuses the high-tech giant of spending billions of dollars to secure agreements with mobile carriers, smartphone makers, and browser operators to become the default search engine. Prosecutors say Google has more than 90% of the search market. Tory Lanez is being denied bond in connection to his shooting of rapper Megan Thee Stallion. Brian Shook reports.
Last month, Lanez was sentenced to 10 years in prison for the shooting. Soon after, Lanez's defense team filed an appeal and requested he be released from prison while the appeals process played out in court. A Los Angeles judge is denying his request, saying Lanez must stay behind bars due to the seriousness of his crime and his history of violating court orders.
A new study from UC Davis pushes back against a common complaint about Disney princesses. Kids who love the princesses with thinner bodies like Belle or Cinderella didn't have lower self-esteem because of it. And the kids who love princesses with more average or athletic bodies like Moana and Mulan were more likely to be confident about their own bodies. Michael Kastner, NBC News Radio.
Listen to our host of the Rated R Safety Show self-implode on our airwaves only on Safety FM.
Well, Did you know that here at Safety FM and Radio Big, we're always trying to look for life hacks? So with the busy season just around the corner, you might be looking for wholesome, convenient meals for your jam-packed days. Factor, America's #1 ready-to-eat meal kits, can help you fuel up with fast chef-prepared, dietitian-approved, and ready-to-eat meals delivered straight to your door. You'll save time, eat well, and stay on track with your healthy lifestyle. Refresh your healthy habits without missing a beat. Choose from 34 weekly flavored packs. Dietitian-approved meals ready to eat in 2 minutes. All you need to do is head over to factorsmeals.com/safetyfm50 and use code safetyfm50 to get 50% off. That's code safetyfm50 at factormeals.com/safetyfm50 to get 50% off. Go there. Do it now.
Is your safety training old, stale, and hacked? Is your safety trainer still preaching a warped version of behavior-based safety? How about safety training that actually addresses your hazards in your workplaces and is not standardized baloney from 25 years ago? Contact the Safety Wars team at safetywars.com or call Jim Posel at 845-269-5772. Remember, if you're receiving this message, you are the solution to unsafe workplaces.
Radio Big. Streaming 24/7 at radiobig.fm.
This portion of the show has been sponsored by Private Internet Access, America's #1 virtual private network, or VPN. Even if you use incognito mode, internet service providers is storing your browser data and many times even selling it. But Private Internet Access, or PIA, can help you. PIA encrypts and reroutes your internet traffic through one of its own servers, hiding your data from your internet service provider or network admin. And with servers in over 75 countries, you can get unrestricted access to geo-blocked content from around the world. PIA comes with easy-to-use apps and browsers extension for all devices, a rock-solid privacy policy, open source security, advanced customization settings, and it was just ranked the fastest VPN in the world by PC Magazine. And if you sign up right now with PIA, you can take advantage of a special deal only for Safety FM listeners. Only by using the following link, you can get the digital privacy for less than $2 a month. Yes, you did hear me correctly, less than $2 a month, and an extra 4 months for free. So that means for only $1.98 a month and 83% off, you can get this service for you right now. That's so much more inexpensive than virtually every other VPN on the market. And if you get it right now, you can take PIA's 30-day risk-free challenge. You can try it out for 30 days, see if you like it, and if not, just return it for a full refund. So just go to safetyfm.com/VPN. That's safetyfm.com/VPN to try out the best VPN on the planet completely risk-free. Now remember, safetyfm.com/VPN.
It's this show, and they just make fun of a whole bunch of people. It's just too funny. It's too stupid.
Rated R Safety Show.
I'll take stupid and funny. Yeah, that's the way that it goes. Anyways, currently 15 minutes past the top of the hour as you and I are hanging out on this lovely Friday. I don't know why it's so lovely. It's just a Friday. It's not like I have anything special going on this weekend. Besides a cough-a-thon is what it sounds like. So anyways, let's do it. Let's talk a little bit about what the hell is going on inside of the world of the shit list. Remember the Japanese man who spent $14,000 to become a collie named Toko? Well, now he says that he wants to meet other dog friends and maybe a special doggy companion who shares his love with being on all fours. That sounded a lot weirder when I said it out loud than when I read it. He told the New York Post that he would also love to take a new lifestyle and appear on some films as a canine, of course. By the way, Toko finally revealed why he chose to become a collie, explaining that his breed is one of his favorites, and with his natural large size, it would It would look unnatural and disproportionate if he wore anything else but a costume. That's just creepy. I mean, I'm just looking for it to have said, I would have helped you with getting a suit as well.
Who truly cares what this guy has to say? Who gives a shit? Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so you remember the Ocean Explorer cruise ship that ran aground earlier this week and has been in the freed ahead of the schedule? Yeah. Well, after it got stuck in the Greenland coast during a low tide, authorities estimated that it would take at least until Friday today to at least reach the boat and figure that out a solution. But nearby research vessel managed to swoop in and help under the coordination of the Danish authorities. Management for the cruise company said that in a statement there have not been any injuries to anybody on board, no pollution to the environment, and no breach of the hull. So there you go. This is according to the Associated Press. So I guess, as you can look at it in some way, shape, or form, that's good news. So take a listen to this. Anyways, a new study published by the science journal Science Advances suggests that we, humanity, aren't doing so hot. Insert your own global warming joke here if you want to, because that's kind of the way that it goes. The researchers identified that 9 measurements to determine the safety of the Earth as a operating space for humanity. Those metrics include climate, biodiversity, land, fresh water, nutrient pollution, and man-made pollution, making Earth a dangerous place to live. The good news is the levels of the ocean acidity is at the acceptable levels, and that the ozone layer is within the safe boundaries. The bad news, despite passing the score of air quality, the levels of ocean pollution both are trending in the dangerous direction, they say. This is according to science.org. So don't shoot the messenger. I'm just sharing it with you. I mean, are you going to go look for this? No, you're probably not going to look for this. This is what I do. This is what I do for us to hang. Okay. Well, this is what we do for us to hang. Maybe I should say it that way. This is what we do for us to hang out and have these combos. So, with that being said, let's do it that way. Anyways, the entire nation of Nigeria was without power for 10 hours on Thursday when a fire knocked the entire grid offline. Widespread power outages are common in the country. Many residents instead turned to gas-powered generators to power their homes. Analysts say that Nigeria produces only 1/8 of the power needed for everyday use. This is according to Africa News. So definitely sounds like there's not enough power. I mean, let's just be realistic. Anyway, some shoplifters blatantly walk out of the front door with their loot in municipalities when calling the police is a waste of time. Others are more likely being a little bit more crafty, like the Los Angeles area woman who started a fire in the clothing section of a Target store to create a distraction while she stocked up and stole baby formula. No one was injured in the blaze, but customers noted the flame was heavy smoke filling the store. All told, the fire caused about $500,000 worth of damage in building and destroyed an estimated about $1 million worth of loss of merchandise that was mostly damaged by the water from the sprinklers used to put it out. The 40-year-old thief was arrested, but no other details have been released. So let me ask a question here, because I know there's these weird laws in certain states that you can't arrest if it's not for an X amount of dollars and all this kind of stuff. But are you trying to tell me now that you can't get arrested for arson?
You are listening to something magical. You're listening to the Rated R Safety Show.
Hey, I am just asking the question. Don't get mad at me. I mean, that's just kind of the way that it goes sometimes. Anyways, let's see. It is 20 minutes past the top of the hour. I think we're going to go ahead and do some Money Matters. It seemed like that went over well yesterday. Well, I guess we'll need to get some kind of infographic for it, so take a listen to this.
Russian hackers are taking responsibility for the MGM Resort's online breach. Matt Mattinson explains.
On Wednesday, MGM said the cyber incident represents a material risk to the company. The resort group has yet to use the word cyber attack, but did confirm it was hit with a cybersecurity issue on Sunday, shutting down ATMs, slot machines, and the MGM mobile app. The hackers claim they managed to do it with just a phone call.
Jobless claims are going up in the U.S. U.S. The Department of Labor released its weekly report Thursday, which said unemployment insurance claims in the U.S. for the week ending September 9th were at 220,000. That's a rise of about 3,000 from the previous week after 4 straight weeks of decline. Google is updating Android Auto and software for vehicles equipped with Google integration. Silvana Anau reports.
Drivers will now be able to join WebEx or Zoom meetings. The apps will work in audio format only to make it easy and safe for drivers to join meetings from their car display. It will only be available on a select number of brands, including Renault, Polestar, and Volvo, and only when the car is parked.
CEOs from some of America's most influential companies and the White House Chief of Staff met Thursday to talk about refugee settlements and sponsorship programs. Company leaders from Alphabet, Walmart, Pfizer, and HP were all present. They're all affiliated with Welcome.us, a group dedicated to helping support refugees in this country. A bipartisan coalition of senators is pushing to get a cannabis banking bill in front of lawmakers. Some senators supporting the Secure and Fair Enforcement Banking Act, known as SAFE, have expressed the hope that the bill could advance out of the committee in the coming weeks. The bill could give federally regulated banks and credit unions legal cover to take state-licensed cannabis dispensaries and growers as customers. Senate Democrats say they're excited after the Department of Health and Human Services recommended that marijuana be classified as a Schedule III drug. It's currently classified as a Schedule I drug, the same as heroin. With consumer and business news, Aaron Real, NBC News Radio.
Oh, yes, that Schedule I will do it to you every single time. That's the way that it goes. Anyways, that was Money Matters for you. Let's go into the deep of the numbers. The Dow was up 331 points to close at 34,907 on Thursday. The S&P lost about 37 points to close at 4,505, and the Nasdaq added about 112 points to close at 13,926. West Texas Intermediate closed at $90 a barrel, and Brent crude was at 94. The national average price of a gallon of gas was $3.85, and Bitcoin continued to rally on Thursday, adding about 1.3% and trading over just $26,500. There was more than 4,090 flights delayed within, into, and out of the United States on Thursday, and more than 73 such cancellations. Tonight's Mega Million drawings will be for $162 million jackpot or a $77.8 million cash payout. Saturday night's Powerball drawing will be for $596 million jackpot or a $288.2 million cash payout. So if you want to play the game, I guess there is time to do so still. So there you go. There you go. There you go. There you go. What do we want to talk about here? What do you want to talk about? Let's see. The song that brought the guys from NSYNC back to the studio is called Better Place. It teased the latest Tater of Trolls flick. So that's where the band's going to get together. I guess that soundtrack will do fine. The first song the boy band has recorded since 2002. This is according to YouTube. So there you go. We talked about this at the top of the hour, so let's go ahead talk about. A matter of fact, before I say that, worth noting, NSYNC Justin Timberlake recorded Can't Stop That Feeling for the original Trolls flick back in 2016 and has lent his voice to the character inside of the movie in multiple iterations, just so you know. So I talked about this portion at the top of the hour. So let's do this. B.U. Phillips is standing by her man, actor Danny Masterson, as he serves his 30 years in prison. She loves Danny and has no plans to file for divorce. She will be by his side for all of it. This is according to what was said to People. Previously reported Masterson was sentenced last week after being found guilty of raping 2 women. The couple, who are both Scientologists, tied the knot in 2011. This is according to People magazine. So we'll see what happens there. Let's continue talking New York Bronx deadly shooting. There was one of those. Police are looking for suspects responsible for the death of a woman in the Bronx that hit by a stray bullet.
Police say shots rang out at the corner of East 139th Street and Brook Avenue in Mont Haven Thursday afternoon. A 71-year-old woman was killed, another person injured. Police believe 2 rival gang members shooting at each other led to the 2 innocent bystanders being shot. Scott Pringle, NBC News Radio, New York.
Okay, thank you, Scott Pringle, for that one. Let's talk real quick about the cost of vacations when planning a trip. 2 things matter: cost and duration. Listen to what Bree Tennis has to say.
A new study by GoCity.com says Americans want to get out and travel, but we want to do it on the cheap. The average person spends $2,743 on a vacay budget, which means 58% will have to downsize a trip. While there's no set number of days to a vacation, a study by a university in Finland says 8 days is the sweet spot. I'm Bree Tennis, NBC News Radio.
Really? 8 days? An 8-day vacation? What do you plan? I mean, I don't know. I mean, I have someone talking to me, and I guess it's kind of a work vacation type of thing. I'm going to do some work, but it'll be on the other side of the planet. And it sounds like it's going to be a 14-day thing, and I'm stressing. And I guess I look at it, too, from time to time. When it's kind of like 4 or 5 days, I stress out about that. So I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what is the right time. What is the wrong time? I don't know. It's just one of those weird ones. Anyways, take a listen to this. Chicago's migrant crisis is the main focus for the city's alderman. Barry Williams has more.
The city council voted yesterday to spend another $34.5 million to help remedy the matter. West Side Alderwoman Emma Mitz says she has her own crisis in the 37th Ward concerning flood victims.
And if this city council want my support on anything, let me just make it clear. You doggone better come over there and help 37th Ward out. I got seniors who still in the house right now with mold in their house.
The vast majority of the money comes from federal grants, which will be used for the care and feeding of asylum seekers. I'm Perry Williams.
Okay, thank you, Perry Williams, for that information right there as we are talking. What else do we have real quick? Did you hear about this one? Ohio Senate Committee of Rail Safety released the final report on February train derailment in East Palestine this week. The state Senate Minority Leader Nikki Antonio says the mission is to create a safer environment going forward for people in Ohio.
What we're trying to do is look at what happened and do everything that we can to prevent an incident like this from happening again.
The report includes 9 recommendations. They've included encouraging Congress to pass a Railway Safety Act sponsored by Ohio U.S. Senator Sherrod Brown and J.D. Vance. State lawmakers also recommended establishing a clear, concise chain of command, providing more resources to train volunteer fire and EMS crews, and requesting long-term testing of soil and water at the near East Palestine derailment site for at least the next 20 years. Also, Nikki Antonio says the most important piece of the final report is improving communication.
We have to make sure first responders have a better idea of what is on a train and that they can quickly access that information. That's part of our recommendations.
So we'll see what happens going forward from there. It will be very interesting to see on how that whole thing advances, because that's what we want. We want the whole system to advance, regardless of where it's at. So it will be good to see what happens from there for sure. Anyways, what else do I have for you real quick? There are the Three River City Commission is considering adding cannabis lounges to marijuana ordinance. Dali Bokerman submitted a petition asking for the lounges as she owns the Daily Dope and was unable to expand her business due to the current ordinance.
It was just strictly retail spaces and safety compliance, I believe. They didn't say no, they just didn't put it in the ordinance. So that was why we were kind of going back to see if maybe Three Rivers would be open to it.
The commission voted 5-1 to approve the first reading of the proposal, with Commissioners Pat Dane being the one to vote no due to the state smoking laws banning the practice indoors and marijuana still being illegal federally. Also, let's see, Broekman says that she would have the lounge open by the next summer if the proposal passes. On Julie's Daily, the owner also said that she would be able to add cannabis lounges to her business in Three Rivers.
I know a lot of people that have kids at home and they don't want to go home to smoke. We don't really want to sit out in our cars and do it either, and it's not legal to walk around. So it gives people a legal, safe space to consume.
So it'll be interesting to see what happens there. Anyways, take a listen to this. The weight room of Osborne High School in Detroit has been renovated by the Detroit Pistons. Principal Dr. Jameet Lewis says the weight room was badly out of date.
No one entered the room. It was outdated. There were items from the 1980s in the weight room.
They're not talking about the staff. Anyways, Osborne High School Principal Dr. Jamita Lewis says that the renovation of the weight room sends a message.
It tells the students that they are loved, that they are appreciated.
Well, that's important. I mean, feeling loved and feeling appreciated is an important aspect for sure of what exactly is going on. There is no doubt about that. Anyways, with that being said, let's take a look. What else do we have real quick around here? Let's see. It seems like we have all kinds of stuff. Anyways, coastal communities in the tri-state area are preparing for potential flooding and dangerous surf conditions today and tomorrow. From Hurricane Lee, Scott Pringle explains.
Well, forecasters say 10 to 16-foot breaking waves are possible, creating very dangerous rip currents, high surfs, and beach erosion. That's for those in coastal communities along Long Island, parts of New York City, and the Jersey Shore. Seaside Heights Assistant Chief Tim Farrell says those caught swimming with red flags up may be fined.
People just aren't understanding that, how dangerous the ocean has been.
Now, sections of New York City are under an advisory for possible hazardous conditions and coastal flooding. Scott Pringle, NBC News Radio, New York.
Okay, thank you, Scott Pringle, for that. With that being said, it is 32 minutes past the top of the hour, so what does that mean? Well, I think it means that we need to give you some more news.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
From Feature Story News in London, I'm Nina Maria Potts with the latest world news. Thousands of people are still missing in eastern Libya 5 days after a catastrophic flood wiped out whole communities when 2 dams burst, triggered by Storm Daniel. 5 days after the disaster, estimates put the number of dead from anything between 6,000 to 11,000. But thousands more are missing. Fears put the actual death total at 20,000. Rescuers are racing against time to help survivors, and 30,000 people have lost their homes. The UN's meteorological organization says the tragedy could have been avoided with a proper response in place. Libya's 2 opposing governments are collaborating in the relief effort, but insecurity and violence have marred Libya for decades. Health experts are warning of disease, water contamination, and the devastating scale of this humanitarian disaster. Strike action in the United States by workers has spread to the car industry, with more than 10,000 employees of the country's biggest manufacturers stopping work. 3 plants owned by General Motors, Ford, and Stellantis have been impacted. The strike is over labor contracts, with the union seeking a 40% pay rise for 140,000 car workers over 4 years. Experts warn the strike will ultimately impact prices for buyers. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un is in the East Russian city of Khabarovsk to tour a jet fighter plant. Kim is in Russia at the invitation of President Vladimir Putin, who greeted him upon arrival on Wednesday. Chris Gilbert reports from Tokyo.
Russian media reports that Kim's private train arrived at Khabarovsk on Friday. The city was an important military-industrial center during the Soviet Union and now houses shipyards and manufacturing facilities for fighter jets, including Russia's next-generation stealth aircraft, the Su-57. It's expected that he will also visit the Amur shipyard, which builds submarines and warships. Russia is demonstrating to Kim its military infrastructure after promising to help North Korea with satellite technology. President Putin says he also wants to demonstrate the capabilities of Russia's Pacific Fleet, and Kim is expected to visit Vladivostok tomorrow, where he may board a warship and observe training. His Russian trip signals deepening cooperation and strengthening ties between Russia and North Korea.
The U.S. believes China's defense minister, Li Shangfu, is under investigation and has been stripped of his responsibilities. Li hasn't been seen in public for more than 2 weeks. Patrick Falk reports.
The development marks a further potential sign of upheaval for the Chinese government. Last month, 2 generals leading China's secretive rocket force were abruptly purged. It came after Foreign Minister Qin Gang was ousted from the job just 7 months after securing the post.
From bureaus worldwide, this is FSN.
With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks. Today, what came out of this week's meetings between Russian President Vladimir Putin and North Korean dictator Kim Jong-un, who unusually left his own country and travelled to Russia. Rob Pearson is a professor of international relations at the US Military Academy at West Point and speaks here in a personal capacity.
It does appear that Russia is willing to help North Korea with its nascent space program. You know, they've struggled to launch satellites into outer space. And so Putin gave an indication that Russia would be willing to help them with that. Of course, the problem is if you can launch satellites into space, you can also use those rockets and convert them into ballistic missiles, which obviously are quite dangerous and under sanction. So we got a little bit taste of that. Now, on the other side, what Russia needs quite desperately, of course, is artillery. ammunition for its brutal war in Ukraine. And according to reports, North Korea stockpiles tens of millions of rounds that are based on Soviet-era designs and compatible with Russian weapons. And so I think that's probably the big ticket item that Putin was looking for from North Korea on this visit as well.
US observers argue the meeting itself indicates that both Kim and Vladimir Putin are increasingly isolated on the world stage. With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks.
And a reminder now of the hour's top story. Thousands of people are still missing in eastern Libya, 5 days after a catastrophic flood wiped out whole communities when 2 dams burst, triggered by Storm Daniel. 5 days after the disaster, estimates put the number of dead from 6 to 11,000, but thousands more are still missing. And that's the latest world news. From Feature Story News, I'm Nina Maria Potts reporting.
Oops! What did he just say?
We at Safety FM don't always agree with viewpoints of our hosts and guests.
Now back to real safety talk on Safety FM.
Don't go anywhere.
You're listening to the home of real safety talk.
You are listening to Safety FM. We'll be right back.
Well, you might be like me and heard all these terms and we're not 100% sure on what they meant. Things as mining, blockchain, the Internet of Things. Well, I will tell you, we here at Safety FM have partnered up with a company that will explain this to you and will also have conversations to inform you on how you might have the potential of making passive income by being involved with this. All you need to do is go to safetyfm.com/iHub. They'll discuss blockchain. What exactly is mining? What is cryptocurrency? And what is the Internet of Things? To find out more information, go to safetyfm.com/iHub. That's safetyfm.com/iHub. And don't forget to mention that Jay Allen sent you.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the lingo.
Today I'm going to help parents translate teen slang. Now, when a teen says something is on fleek, it's exactly like saying, that's rad. It simply means that something is awesome or cool. Another one is totes. It's exactly like saying, totally, just shorter. As in, I totes love going to the mall with Becca. Another word you might hear is jelly. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will think you're, rad just the same. To learn more, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
This is the story of a very special woman. In a matter of seconds, she turned herself into a great mathematician or an entrepreneur. Her knowledge was limitless and still is. She could also make monsters disappear, especially those that lurked in the shadows under the bed. Once, this woman put back together a teenage girl's broken heart, which had been shattered in 1,000 pieces, just by giving her a bear hug. She masqueraded as a regular person at work, but as a superhero at home. Everyone knows her as Gabriella. I still call her Mom.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need to help, complete with tips and resources at aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Do you have a claim and not sure where to turn? Coastal Claim Consultants are professionally licensed and bonded public insurance adjusters employed exclusively by you, the policyholder, to represent you after sustaining an insured loss. They assist policyholders in all aspects of processing the claim, working closely with the insured to provide the most equitable and timely settlement possible. They will provide you with comprehensive service, anything from inspecting the loss site, analyzing damages, compiling claim support data, reviewing applicable coverages, assessing replacement costs of damages, and negotiating your settlement. The adjusters at Coastal Claim Consultants will evaluate your claim for no upfront cost whatsoever. Coastal Claim Consultants' fee is based on contingency contracts and are paid when the insurance company sends you a check and it's in your possession. Coastal Claim Consultants are licensed to assist you in the following states: Florida, Texas, Oklahoma, Georgia, and South Carolina. For more information, go to coastal-cc.com. That's coastal-cc.com. For more information, lighting the way to recovery. Coastal Claim Consultants.
Another pitfall of our society. Rated R Safety Show.
Yes, these are the best days of our lives, some summer lights. This is hour number one of the Jay Allen in the Morning Show, also referred to as the Rated R Safety Show, because there is no hour 2 or 3 of it. Oh, yes, it is 42 minutes past the top of the hour on this lovely Friday. You know, we have to move and we have to groove. We have to do it all together, that's for sure. You know, it's some good times when you get to listen to some good music and hang out with some good people. No doubt about that. I enjoy what we get to do together on a weekly basis, on a daily basis around here. So, there you go. Fun. Anyways, this song, Summer Lights by Wolf Club, available on YouTube Music, Apple Music, and Spotify. Maybe next week we just do some crazy stuff. We do some crazy music. So we'll kind of go from there. Anyways, so there you go. So let's get back into the move and the groove. Thanks to Wolf Club for allowing us to play this right here. Because it's always a good time as we are doing this, hanging out, listening to some new music. Because, hey, what else would we be doing? So right now, I have to tell you, I'm going to tell you the most important thing that I will ever tell you in my lifetime. No, I'm being serious. This is not a joke. This is not some ad. This is not some thing to throw in there of like, aha, I one-offed you and threw you off. I want to tell you about this great organization that I know about that's called To Write Love on Her Arms. I've been following them for years. They're not a paid sponsor. We don't want them to be a paid sponsor. Even if they were to offer us money to do anything, we would tell them to reinvest it into what they have going on. That's how important it is to us here. But listen, To Write Love on Her Arms is there if you need help. If you need immediate help, there's helplines that are there on their website. They want you to know that no matter what you've been facing, you deserve to be connected to help. To Write Love on Her Arms wants you to know that people have been where you've been and things can improve. Healing is possible. So to find out more information, all you have to do is go to twloha.com. That's twloha.com and click on the section that says Find Help. Listen, there are different ways to get involved with this organization. There's different ways to do different things if you're so inclined to do so. Or if you just need information and resources, that's available there for you as well. So keep that in mind. Keep those things in mind. twloha.com. We all go through struggles from time to time. There is no doubt about that. But they are available there for you to move forward and go on. To Write Love on Her Arms. Once you get to their website, go all the way to the far hand right-hand side and click on the section that says Find Help. If not, you can just click on the stuff that says Self-Care. And I'll just give you one of the simple instructions there. When you're having a tough moment or a day, it's okay to pause and take care of yourself. Below are some suggestions on how you can do what is right for you now, and how you can make plans to keep the self-care efforts going forward into the future. I'm telling you all kinds of fun stuff and good stuff on their website. TWLOHA.com. So there you go. Let's talk real quick about some things that are going on inside of the world. Of course, let's talk about some things that are happening inside of the office of the box or the box office, because I think that that's going to be important. A haunting in Venice following World War II. The detective Hercule Poirot is retired in Venice, reluctantly convinced to attend a seance. The night ends in a murder. And then once again, he finds his skills put to the test to uncover who the culprit is. That's PG-13 coming out today. In Camp Hideout, a troubled teen Noah nearly gets caught stealing a top-secret gadget from some big city thugs. He decides to hide out in a summer camp, but he tries to blend in with the rest of the rowdy campers. His crooked former partners show up. So that one's, let's see, that's PG-13 too. Comes out today. So there you go. There you go. There you go. There you go. So some stuff right there. Let's talk about some news of the weird today, because I feel that that's where we need to lean. British Columbia man called the police because he was offended by what another man was wearing. A 27-year-old Trail resident called cops to complain, saying that he was offended on the behalf of the military at the sight of the man was wearing a camouflage pants because he believed that civilians were not allowed to do so. He requested that the officer find the man and remove his pants. The caller also told the officer that he is willing to remove the pants himself under the order of the King of England. The officer informed him that that forcefully removing the man's pants would constitute as an assault, and that from him taking the action would not be a good idea either. They were just surprised that he could see them. After all, they were camouflage, so I guess that's something to think about. And also from the Dirty Trick Department, a fake sign that was designated to La Jolla Beach as a nude beach was removed by the Chicago Park District over the weekend. Rogers Park beachgoers heading to the lakefront over the Labor Day weekend spotted the new sign and read "Nude Beach" past this sign. The sign also included an official Chicago Park District seal. The Park District replied with a tweet about it, confirming that the sign was not official and pointing out that unauthorized use of district seal is strictly prohibited, as is swimming naked in a family beach, we presume. So here's the question. How many people thought that this became a nudist beach, quote-unquote, lake, and actually started participating in it? Because I think that that's going to be something pretty interesting.
Always replicated, but never duplicated. Rated R. Safety Show.
Okay, so there you go. There you go. Some interesting stuff for sure. What do you think? So I have to tell you this. I'm heartbroken that we're not going to be hanging out tomorrow. You're probably looking at me going, well, it's Saturday. You don't normally are not here on Saturday and so on. But tomorrow's Batman Day. So we're not going to be able to hang out and talk about it. So tomorrow, I wanted to reference this. Batman Day is saluting the 1939 creation of the character as the DC comic strip hero. It has been calculated that it takes about 15 to 18 years to do all the training that he would need to take the job. Forbes estimated that the alter ego Bruce Wayne's worth about $9.2 billion, and his company, Wayne Enterprises, having an annual revenue about $31.3 billion. So just so you know. So there are people in the world that do exist that could be Batman. I want you to think about it because it's super important. These people could be Batman if they wanted to be. Okay, now I'm just losing it. Okay, so let's talk about some things that are important. Let's talk about some Motivation Minute stuff. Let's bring some John Smalls in here because I think that's important.
The Motivation Minute is courtesy of InsuranceChicken.com. Today's story was submitted by Dan. In 1923, a 40-year-old man, Franz Kafka, saw a girl in a park crying. She had lost her favorite doll. He searched with her unsuccessfully. Well, the next day they met up again, and he gave the girl a letter that was, written by the doll. It said, "Please don't cry. I took a little trip to see the world. I will write you about my adventures." More letters would come in about adventures from around the world. One day, Kafka surprised the girl with the doll. She noted that it looked different. Well, there was a letter explaining it. "My travels have changed me." The little girl hugged the new doll. Kafka died soon after, and many years later, the girl found another letter inside the doll signed by Kafka. It said, "Everything you love will probably be lost, but in the end, love will return in another way." This has been today's Motivation Minute, courtesy of InsuranceChicken.com. I'm John Small. Thanks for listening. Your favorite motivational quotes can be submitted for upcoming programs at motivationminute.org.
A new study suggests that using tobacco and marijuana is tied to much higher risk of depression and anxiety. Researchers at the University of California, San Francisco studied nearly 54,000 U.S. adults and found that those who use both substances experience depression or anxiety at almost twice the rate of people who don't use tobacco or marijuana. The lead researcher said smoking weed and tobacco doesn't help in dealing with anxiety and depression, and it might actually make mental health issues worse in the long run. The Biden administration is awarding more than $1 billion in grants to give Americans more access to trees and to green spaces. Research has shown that tree cover reduces the impact of extreme heat, including lowering the number of heat-related deaths. Health Updates, Sarah Lee Kessler, NBC News Radio.
Hello, I'm Richard Exley with your 1-minute devotion. Tenderness is the touch of a mother's hand on the fevered brow of a sick child. It's her husband's quiet presence in the sick room, his strong arm around her trembling shoulder, his faith expressed in silent prayer. It's a handwritten note from one who understands, a special scripture, a phone call. Tenderness is a shoulder to cry on in the hour of unspeakable loss, a friend who gives you time and a safe place to grieve, who comforts without resorting to cliches. Tenderness is God's presence expressed in human form. Lord Jesus, make me a comforter to some lonely, hurting person today. In your holy name I pray. Amen. If these devotions are a blessing and an encouragement to you, you can subscribe at oneminutedevotion.com.
We at Safety FM are not responsible for what this idiot behind the microphone is saying. He is trying to be entertaining. Rated R Safety Show.
Pop quiz hotshot. During a heat wave, what's more important, air conditioning or air guitar?
Is it air conditioning?
Air guitar. The answer is always air guitar.
The answer is always air guitar. You don't ever have to worry about what that answer is because air guitar. That's for sure. Anyways, 53 minutes past the top of the hour. That means we have very few minutes before we go to the other side of the equation, so don't worry about that. Anyway, so let's talk about this real quick. Very few tickets left if you're interested in coming to the Conklin Conference occurring in about a week and a half. Here we go. Conklin Conference. We're going to talk about human and organizational performance. Who's going to be there? Todd Conklin, Jen Long, Bob Edwards, Mark Yeston, and Miss Andrea Baker. I'll be there hosting. If you want to come down to Orlando, hang out with us, you can find out more information at safetyfm.io. That's safetyfm.io for more information. We'd love to see you there. We'll hang out for those 3 days talking about the world of human and organizational performance. Oh, what a subject to talk about. safetyfm.io for more information. People get confused because it's not a .com. If it is, okay, you can go to safetyfm.com and click on the section that says live events, and that will get you there as well. So just so you know. Just so you know. Anyways, at the top of the hour, I will be going over to Radio Big if you want to come in and hang out with me over there. I'll be hanging out for the next 2 hours or so doing the world of music stuff because that's what we do. If you hang out here, you can hang out with Sheldon Primus as he does the world of safety consulting. So you have some options there if you're interested in hanging out and doing the live thing. That is for sure. Also, before I forget, Tuesday, the 26th of September, if you are in Orlando, the Alliance of Central Florida Safety will be putting on their Safety Day event, their 2023 Safety Day event, which will be the same place where the Conklin Conference will be taking place, and we will be broadcasting live from there. So we'll be there on that Tuesday. acfs.org if you want to find out some more information. All kinds of speakers. Listen, lunch, parking, and the event itself, $30. You're not going to get a better value than that for $30. That is for sure. Anyways, let's talk about some things real quick before we get you the hell out of here. Let's talk about some things that happened back on this date. As I take a look around, if I look into, let's see, 1954, the iconic photo of Marilyn Monroe giggling while on the subway vent that lifts her skirt is shot while the film of The 7-Year Itch. The pic ticked off her husband, Joe DiMaggio, who thought it was rather unladylike. The pair soon divorced after that. So there you go. That happened back in 1954. If you're looking at some birthdays for today, Chelsea Kane turns 35, Heidi Pratt 37. Prince Harry turns 39, Tom Hardy turns 46, Jimmy Carr 51, Dan Marino turns 62 today, Lisa Vanderpump turns 63, and Tommy Lee Jones turns 77. So that's some birthdays going on today. If you're looking at some days of the year to celebrate, well, crap, there's a ton of them. It's National Cheese Toast Day, National Double Cheeseburger Day, National Online Learning Day, Make a Hat Day, Raspberry Day, National Felt Hat Day, Green Space Day, National Linguine Day, World Afro Day, International Greenwich Day, National Tradesman Day, International Dot Day, Butterscotch Cinnamon Pie Day, National Concussion Awareness Day, 4 p.m. Finish Day, and National Cream de Mente Day. See, I told you there was all kinds of them. I wasn't joking when I was saying that. So there are some days of the year that you can celebrate if you're so inclined to do so. If you need a random joke for today, I have one of those for you as well. If you're asking me to choose sides, keep in mind, I'll always go with potato salad. If you need a phone starter for today, try this. What experience were you hesitant to try but are already glad you did? If you need a question for the water cooler, try this. According to a survey, the average child will ask their parents this question 1,584 times before they turn 18. The question? Can I have a puppy or a pet? No, seriously, that's the question. So there you go. Anyways, that's it. That's going to sum it up. That's going to do it for us. Thanks for hanging out. If you're not staying around, I'll see you Monday, God willing, of course, because that's going to be an important portion of doing the things that we get to do. Thank you for always being the most important part of Safety FM and Radio Big, and that is the listener, because without you, we can't not do what we do around here. That is for sure. If I can leave you with a deep thought for today, I would love to leave you with this. Happiness often sneaks in through a door you didn't even know you had left open. Think about that. I know who you are.
Duh.
You know who I am. Love you, mean it, and goodbye.
The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are those of the host and its guest and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the company. Examples of analysis discussed within this podcast are only examples. They should not be utilized in the real world as the only solution available, as they are based only on very limited and dated open source information. Assumptions made within this analysis are not reflective of the position of the company. No part of this podcast may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, mechanical, electronic, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of the creator of the podcast, Jay Allen.